Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor back here in the saddle. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on our YouTube channel. If you're watching, pound the subscribe button and anywhere else you can, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, and all that other stuff. So this interview or episode is going to be called You Can Run, But You Can't Hide. This is a year in the making with Coach McCollum, one of the busiest men in college basketball. I think every basketball coach is busy, but we got Coach Ben McCollum, formerly of Northwest Missouri State, formerly of Drake, and currently University of Iowa men's basketball program coach. Welcome to the Full Court Press.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're like, oh crap, why did I sign up for this?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's all good. We're good to go, man.
Yeah. So we kind of talked just quickly off air. How's your off season going? But there really is no off season. I can't even imagine what you're going through right now.
Yeah, no, it's, I think it's more regardless of the year or if you stay at the same job, it's still going to be a busy time of year. There's like a month sprint where you're working through the portal trying to get the kids that you want. I think the unique part of this situation is this is the second level change in a year. And so you're trying to navigate that piece of it. Okay, what does a Big Ten player look like? Then on top of that, you're trying to move your family for the second time in a year. And then you're trying to move yourself. And so it is tricky to navigate. I think the benefit of being at the University of Iowa is you can be here for a long time now. And, I think your family can get settled. Everybody can get settled and you can build the program that you want to build.
So you unpack the boxes is what you're saying in your house.
That is correct. Yep. We unpacked for about 2 months, and then I think we moved into the house in October. So when we moved to Des Moines, we actually stayed in an Airbnb from July to October. So for 3-4 months in a duplex with 5 of us and 2 dogs, and moved into a house, and it was a great house. Still have the house, and then took the job in March. So we lived in that house for all of like 7 or 8 months. So it's been quite the process.
Yeah. Was it much convincing for your family and your 2 dogs to take the Iowa job?
Yeah, more than you would think. I think because of how tough it is to transition. I think it was one of those decisions that was a pretty obvious decision because it is close to home. It is a place you can be at for a long time. I think that we did like our time and had no intention of leaving Des Moines. And so, it's one of those tricky deals. I was at a place for 15 years and had multiple opportunities to leave and chose not to. And then, it was just kind of dumb luck that the in-state job that is an hour and a half away offered you the position the first year you were at Division I. So it just is what it is. And it's a good opportunity and we're excited for it.
Yeah. So let's go back to your Division II days at Northwest Missouri State. You graduated there. You played there. You're a graduate assistant there. How'd you do it? I mean, to win 4 national championships, and it's amazing because I think every D2 coach is happy you left. Let's be honest, you're doing really well there. What was the recipe there?
It was get the right people. I think initially we didn't do a lot right initially, but we did the most important things right. And so when you take over as a head coach, you don't realize how little you actually know and how much goes into that and how many decisions you have to make consistently. And especially a program at Northwest, which is a really good program, it's not the best basketball job in that league. It's probably middle of the pack in regards to the MIAA. And so The good part is I was fortunate enough to fail for 2 seasons and figure it out. But while I was failing, we were getting the right people, and we were retaining the right people. And so that 3rd season, we were able to win the league. And, you just kind of learn over time. And the beauty of Division II is you learn without as much external pressure. And so the little external pressure that you feel, you're able to kind of mitigate that or navigate that at a different level. And it's mostly internal pressure. So as you move up levels, the external pressure doesn't bother you because you've already dealt with it just on a smaller level, but you've trained for this for a lot of years, and you've made decisions that, maybe aren't as popular, but they end up working out, and it's the right decision for the program, regardless if it's the right decision for the external. And so I was blessed to be able to fail for a couple of years. I was blessed to be able to coach at Division II and do a little bit of everything at that level. And then, obviously to win championships as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Coaching and parenting go hand in hand, huh? You can always mess up the first child, but you can't mess up the second and third child, kind of like failing in coaching.
I've messed up a lot of them. I'm not going to lie to you. That's the beauty of it. That's what people don't understand is, the cool part about coaching and the cool part about parenting is you are going to mess up, and there's imperfections, and that's what makes it kind of fun. And so, because you look back at those hard times a lot of times more than you do, cutting down nets.
Yeah. So what I find interesting, you made a point about this a couple minutes ago, we first started, about finding the right fit for, the Big Ten and what have you. Were you surprised in the year at Drake of how well you guys did? I mean, you guys were the hottest team in the nation for a while, and not just beating, and I'm no disrespect to some of these teams, like weaker teams. I mean, you were beating good teams. Did you really expect to have that good of a season year one, especially with the whole having Division II guys and Division II can't play Division I and all this garbage? Are you surprised in that first year?
Yeah, I guess surprised would probably be a bad term. I don't think I was surprised. I guess I think that I didn't have expectations for what was going to occur. And so my job was to just do the best we could to build for the long term. And I always think in terms of that, like I want to build a program that can sustain itself. And so with that, you have to build a culture, you have to take the right kids, and especially early, you have to make sure that you take the right kids. Even if you think, okay, this might not be a kid that's quite as talented as we need necessarily for the Missouri Valley. But he's got the right mental makeup. And so we did that. And then, I think we went out to Charleston, and we won Charleston, and it was like, okay, man, this is wild. And kind of started to believe a little bit more than we had initially. And that's just an external belief, but sometimes that helps with, younger kids and younger players. And so, to say I was surprised, no, I wasn't surprised.
Right.
But to say I expected it necessarily, I don't really create those expectations, but from an external standpoint, I think it was pretty interesting. And like, for instance, we had an all-conference kid named Mitch Muscari. I think it was third team all-conference maybe. And down the stretch, it was kind of like, I don't, and I even told Mitch this, is that I'm not sure if you're good enough for this level. I'm honestly, I don't know. And I quite frankly didn't know. And he came in first day and practiced, and I'm like, oh, he's good enough for this level. We'll be all right. And, and it was, but you don't totally know, because they've never played at this level. And so like, you don't totally know what translates. You're not totally sure. I do know this character does still win. And so we took high character kids and ultimately won some games.
Yeah, I like that character still wins. So we've had Bennett Sturts on the show and what have you. So take me through, so you accept the Iowa job. Take me through what gets through that conversation with, your best player. And obviously some of your best players are coming with you that have eligibility. Take us through those conversations. I mean, you look at, 5-10 years ago, when you take a new job, you're like, bye, best of luck. Now it's like, you coming with me? Like, how does that go in that situation? Because it's obviously happening every year, and it's going to continue to happen in the current college basketball landscape.
Yeah, it usually happens just like that. Do you want to go or not? It's pretty simple. There's not a lot of.
You want to dance? You don't want to dance.
Yeah, I think the unique part about this one was they have to go in the portal to where you can even recruit your own players.
Yeah,
which makes it kind of strange. So you're like, like I can't really talk to you unless you're in the portal, kind of deal. And so, and then they go in, and then you're like, okay, do you want to come? Yep. All right, let's do that. And then it's done. That's how quick and easy and painless. Yeah, that's the greatest recruiting process. Is what is I think is it Rothstein that says the greatest gifts are the ones that you already had? I don't know who says that. That's one of those Twitter guys says that. And so
one of those Twitter guys. That's funny. Yeah. So did you guys rent like a 12-pack van and just bring everybody up together to Iowa City, or did you guys, how does that work?
Some of them didn't even take a visit for a while. And then I don't think so. Tavion, we didn't talk to for 2 weeks because he didn't go in the portal right away. And then some of them did. And then they just came up and walked around campus, took some pictures, and that was that. They wanted to come. So like we're rolling with, and I think there's something to be said about the kids that you have, and the because we have role definition already, that's super helpful. And so they also know how to work at a certain level. But it's still got a ways to go, and we'll still work with that.
Yeah. So my first TV job was in KFXA, KFXB in Dubuque and Cedar Rapids. So my first TV job was covering Steve Alford at the University of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit nerve-wracking because you just didn't know what you're going to get. He's a very nice guy. I've gotten to know him a little bit. But some of the questions you'd ask him, I liken him to Kevin O'Neill, the former Northwestern coach. You just never knew what kind of answer thing you were going to get. So I know the power of University of Iowa. I know the passion. I know why you took this job. I mean, you're born and raised in Iowa, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
What can people expect from your teams starting day one, year one, first game of, I guess, the Ben McCollum era of Iowa Hawkeyes basketball?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we've got tough kids and kids that are going to compete, kids that play with a great level of enthusiasm and intensity, and kids that are easy to cheer for. I think, I think obviously winning is important, and that's what you ultimately want to do. We've done a lot of that. I think if you put that first, I'm not sure that's the way to do it. For us, we've always put character, toughness, representing the university first and foremost, and then after that is winning, and it's kind of a byproduct of those other things. So we want Iowans to be proud of what we look like from an effort, a toughness, a competitiveness standpoint, and hopefully we've got the right group to do that.
Yeah, and I like some of the players you're putting, and obviously the guys you brought in, but you brought in a guy named the Octopus.
So what he calls himself?
Yeah, that's what he calls himself, which I kind of like, and I got to see him play in Cleveland and the NCAA tournament. Take me through kind of the puzzle. What were you looking for? I mean, you're saying, it keeps hitting my head is the Big Ten fit, the Big Ten player.
Mm-hmm.
What did you kind of do together? I mean, I know you're probably still trying to, finish up the portal per se and what have you, but tell me a little bit about the roster makeup.
Yeah, I mean, the portal's tricky because like everybody wants a 7-foot shot blocker. And so naturally there's a supply demand component to it. And so when you look for something like that and you pass on other things, then you don't have good enough players to play in the Big Ten. And so, so if I want to go get a 7-foot shot blocker, the best bigs on the market are going to be, over $3 million. It is what it is.
Isn't that crazy to say that? $3 million? I mean, come on.
Yeah. So if you're there, like, so, our objective was to figure out guys that could play in the Big Ten and that had a unique skill set that translates levels. And so with him, he's 6'10", and he can shoot, he can pass, he can drive, and it was just a high IQ basketball player. So we knew that all those skills that he had would translate to this level. And so the same for, Brendan Housen, the same for some of the guys that we brought with is like, okay, so what skill translates to us? Rather than overthinking, okay, can he guard at this level? Can he rebound at this level? Can he do this at this level? It's like you can kind of get yourself down all these different rabbit holes. And we just tried to itemize it down. Can they play in the Big Ten or not?
Mm-hmm. Can they shoot the ball or not? You've got some shooters. It's going to be fun in Carver Hawkeye Arena with some of these kids bringing in. And I like that they have experience at high levels and they've played high level teams because, I mean, the Big Ten with their 36 teams right now from everywhere. I mean, I feel like the Big Ten is going to have like 36 teams eventually, as is the SEC, but it's really good basketball. So I think he'll do well in it first year. So Sam always does this section, starts it off called the shot clock, just 5 easy questions. Some are deep, some might be a one-word answer, one might be like a story, whatever. Just have at it. But it's a little bit of, we're going to go serious to start here, okay? So What does culture mean to you?
Oh, culture for us is like a set of unwritten rules that everybody seems to follow. It's just kind of you walk in and like I don't have to tell people to hold the door for somebody. I don't have to tell somebody to say please or thank you. Like we don't have to have just a rules like we call it wall culture. You don't have to have wall culture. You don't have to have a set of rules or a set of things that you try to follow. It just naturally happens. And culture is set not because you have a great culture setter. It's because you have great people in the organization that naturally act that way. Okay. And so then it trends that direction. So no one strays from that. So long answer, but that's what I would say it is.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. This is going to be a tough one because I know you have multiple kids and you have to choose which kid you like better. But what is your biggest win or your most memorable win of your coaching career anywhere?
Coaching. Oh, geez.
You have to pick one.
Win. I have to pick one. Probably that 2017 national championship was memorable because it was the first one. It wasn't the most important. It wasn't my favorite. It was in regards to a memory. That's what I remember it very well.
Yep. So you like your first child the best. I get it. I've got 3. I think she likes me. She's the one that my oldest is the one that wouldn't push me off the hill. So that's good.
There you go.
There you go. So it's good. So if you weren't a coach, what would you be doing?
Initially, I always did. When I went to school, I wanted to be a doctor. And then I just didn't want to go to medical school for that long. So then I got into finance and I was going to be I actually went into banking for like 3 months and then paid for my own way to graduate school after that. So anyway, so then, we ended up choosing basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a pretty good choice, Coach. Pretty good choice to say the least.
Yeah, no doubt.
What is the one win or the one loss that haunts you?
They don't really haunt me a ton. I mean, I'd say anytime your season ends is probably the ones that do. I've had some seasons end a little bit early where we got upset, that sort of thing. But nothing, every year your season ends, if you don't win the last game, it's going to haunt you for quite a while, and then you can't watch it for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Funniest recruiting story?
Boy. So I was recruiting a kid from Minneapolis, and we had to go to a league called the Brothers Keepers League in Minneapolis. And me and my assistant now is Jesse Shaw. We were at Emporia State at the time, and the kid's name was DeAndre Townsend. He was really good, 5'8" guard, and he ended up leading us in points and assists. Well, one of the games needed an extra player and extra 2 players. And so this place is packed. I don't know if you remember And One, like
And One makes the professor.
That's how it was like. They had a guy on the microphone, they had the beats playing, they had it all. And so it was me and Coach Shaw, and they're like, hey, we need two players. And I think they had 4 and they needed 2 to get to 6. And so we're like, all right. And we had khakis on and other shorts, and So we go out and start playing and playing well. And then Jesse catches one off the rim, gets a tip dunk. And the court got rushed and, everybody's going crazy. And it was like, this went pretty well.
In khakis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he dunked the heck out of that thing, too.
Oh, my God. What were some of the stuff they're saying about you guys in khakis playing basketball?
These dudes get buckets. That's about it. We were a little too physical, I think.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, last question for you. All right, they're doing a Hollywood movie about your life, okay? What would the title be? Who would play you? And what would be the theme song or the song that best describes you?
The title be? Oh, geez, this is a wild question. I don't know what the title would be. I think that's a really tough question. Can I jump to who would play me?
Yeah.
Probably you got to figure like a Ben Stiller, maybe somebody that.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
There's a guy on the guy on The Sandlot, Benny Rodriguez.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I looked exactly like him.
Okay.
Because I had hair then. So and then what was the last part of that question?
Song. What would the theme song be, or the song that best describes you?
Oh, it's got to be DMX. It's got to be "Here We Go Again" by DMX. It's fantastic. It's don't worry about it. It's a college song, so it was fantastic. But,
I know that song. I'm a little bit older than you. I know about DMX. What you really want?
Yep, that's right.
All right. What's the title?
The title would be, man, I don't know. What would you say the title would be?
I was going to be like The Traveling Salesman, but you were never a salesman. You're a banker / doctor / basketball coach.
Yeah. But see, I've only traveled for a year, so now it's not my history.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know what I don't know, man. Probably just self-title. You could just self-title it like McCollum. Could you just do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
The self-title, that'd be probably easiest.
The legend of the McCollum legend. How about that?
Probably not a legend, but
you're doing a good job, man. You're building something.
There you go.
Last question I have. We usually ask about, what to expect, but I asked you that earlier. What are your kind of thoughts? And we don't need to go too deep in it. What are your kind of thoughts on tournament expansion? And I'm asking you this for a reason. There's a reason behind this. You've been on both scenarios, okay? You made it with Drake. Now you're, which is a mid-major conference. The year before, Indiana State did not get in, as did a couple other mid-majors like South Florida or high mid-majors. Now you're in the big. What are you in? You're in the Big Ten. God, I almost called you Big 12. Sorry, the Big Ten, or I like to call it the Grade 8. Just joking. It's not the Grade 8. It's the Big 10. Well, I guess, what are your thoughts about tournament expansion now that you're in a different kind of chair?
Yeah. I'd probably say I don't know if tournament expansion. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the more you can have in it. I think the way you select people is probably for instance, at Drake, we won 30 games, and we had to win the last game of the season to be able to play in the NCAA tournament. That's not right. And so, is there a way to have your regular season conference champion be in, or can you make their road a little bit easier with the tournament setting? I understand the conference tournament setting because people get excited about that stuff because of the upsets and things of that nature. Because in a tournament setting, tournament's got a little luck to it too. The best team doesn't always win the national championship.
Absolutely.
And we've won 4 of them. It's not always the best team. There's luck. And so I thought a couple of years that we lost, we were still the best team in the country. So how do you get Drake in from last year that was a regular season champion, but then also create enthusiasm around the Missouri Valley Conference tournament? Do you take certain leagues like the Missouri Valley, who's got probably 2 or 3 tournament teams every year? Do you say your regular season champions in, and whoever wins the conference tournament. We only do that for the Missouri Valley Conference, the A10, and Conference USA. I'm just arbitrarily naming leagues.
Right.
And then all the other low major leagues are going to be, you got to win your conference tournament. I don't know what that answer is, but I do think there's probably a better way. I just don't have a solution for it. So when I don't have a solution for something, I don't like to state all the problems, because I just
Well, you just have a unique perspective. I mean, when you really think about it, because you've been on both sides of the fence per se, and the Missouri Valley every year, like you said, has 2-3 good solid teams. I mean, the one year Bradley, Drake, and Indiana State were all somewhat deserving of going to the tournament. But yeah, my title and my pay scale doesn't warrant me to really give a firm opinion. I just kind of laugh at it on social media about hearing different opinions and what have you. So you're going to stick on with
the Indiana State one was probably one of the greatest travesties that I've seen. That team was good. The Indiana State from a year ago, they were really good. They should have been in the NCAA tournament. There's your example. And they won the regular season conference title, and then they got upset in the championship. And so, but they were the best team in that league. It just, they didn't win the tournament, and so they didn't make it. And I thought that was a travesty, but I don't know.
I mean, I guess it is what it is. I think you can expand it to 96. Every conference gets 2 automatic bids, regular season champion and tournament champion, but then 96, then you're kind of diluting the product. So whatever. I mean, it keeps people talking, and it keeps eyes on the NCAA tournament over the off season. But Coach, you're going to stick with us one more second. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Check out the Iowa Hawkeyes. Coach McCollum, year 1 in Iowa City. He's kind of replacing the Dr. Tom Davis. Maybe he'll be Dr. McCollum at some point. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. The Full Court Press, a college basketball coach show on the Full Court Network.